Welcome to Fitch Painting Repairs Garage. Ugly mug. Shave that beard. Can't wear a respirator properly when doing painting. So, today's project, continuing on with this 1990 goldwing aspen cape. We had poor running issues. It wouldn't run and rev up above 1500 RPMs unless you sufficiently warmed up the bike, and then only with engaging the choke slightly would it be able to accelerate at all. But it ran really rough, spit, sputter, got it to run with the choke fully engaged, and but it just run rough, real spitting and sputtering. So we did some checking on it and testing and found the battery issue, so we had to charge it. It was weak, so we charged it on the bike, and then the bike, it bled down, so we're checking for parasitic draw. Took the battery out of the bike and we charged it. Got the bike running, warmed up, and with the choke engaged was able to test ride it. It was running slightly better. So each time we try it and do something to the bike, she runs a little better. And did some test riding on it, added some fuel additive to it, and with the battery fully charged and sufficiently warmed up, was able to ride it up to the gas station, put some more fresh fuel in it. But she's has an idle issue where what's going on is you get the idle set at about 1100 RPMs or so, and then when you drop her in gear, the idle drops real low, and the bike wants to die, stutter, sputter. If she's really warm, she'll stay running, fully engage the choke, and she runs decently. But so anyway, so we started tearing it down to get down to the airbox assembly on it, and opened up the airbox, got the air filter out of it, fired the bike up and run it, and looked at the carburetors and found that the number one carburetor, or the left side carburetor, when you're sitting on the bike looking down at it, left side of the bike, the diaphragm slide, the jet needle and the diaphragm slide, the venturi slide, was not moving. So the left side carburetor was froze up. And so got that freed up with a little bit of cleaner, ran the bike. It was still doing the issue with the stuttering and all. So we took it, and can you see down in there? That's a mess getting down into that thing, man. And it's got all kinds of stuff that could go wrong down in there. So it's a head scratcher at the moment. We found a couple issues, a couple lines that were unhooked, but I believe these are just the drain lines down in here. To hook up the flow bowl drains, and the flow bowls are vented. So we're gonna have to go through and open up the carburetors. That's what our next goal is. But what we got is a set of dual carbs mounted together on a plate. Plate's got the accelerator pump attached into it. It's got one accelerator pump hooked up to the two carburetors. These down here are your vent tubes for your float bowls. So we got to make sure we get all this stuff hooked up and everything. We're going to have to disassemble this to get to the float bowls, because the way they got them set up, they face each other, and I don't know if we can get that apart without disassembling all that. At least what we got to do is get this plate off, which looks like it's the vent setup for the float bowl. So we're going to be pulling that apart and seeing how this assembly all goes together. But first, we're going to be looking for some schematics online. And there's some trash and debris down in this throat of this carburetor. See right in here, all that residue. So probably what we've got is just a lot of tarnish buildup on the inside, because these are vented float bowls. So they're vented to atmospheric pressure. So what happens is when you put them in long-term storage, that gasoline that's in the carburetor dries up and leaves a residue, tarnish inside. So we need to pull that apart. We need to clean that, go through and purge it, check everything, make sure the diaphragm didn't get torn. We did atmospheric checking with low pressure air from the compressor when the bike was sitting static and the carburetors were still installed. Where the atmospheric pressure um, is, there's the opening on the throat of the carburetor. You just puff a little air in there and watch and see if the diaphragm moves, and both diaphragms move equally with the same pressure. So um, got a little bit of inspections to do on the bike, a couple remaining lines and things down in there that we need to get to look at to verify that could be problematic. But there's all kinds of vacuum control issues on this thing. It might turn out to be a head scratcher. I'd hate that, but I've been going on forums. I've been looking at the information that's out there in regards to this bike, and some of the key areas to look at. And they keep talking about this 90-degree. Um, it's called a 90-degree vent line. So I don't know what that vent line is. If it gets smashed, restricted, broken. This down in here, I believe, is just a crankcase vent line. That's what this big one is. So we're going to go through, we're going to check all these lines and check everything and see where everything runs, and just give it a really good look over, clean them carburetors and look for anything damaged inside, and reassemble it with some fresh gas. See how it goes. Stay tuned.